It's 10 a.m. This is... No, it's not 10 a.m. It's 9:30. I'm leaving for work. This is about as early as I can stand to be up. To the point where it's probably pushing me a little bit too far. I'm having to skip breakfast this morning. Hang on. But looks like a nice day. I could think of worse days to have to get up. What is for me quite early. I know some people might just think I'm complaining about having to get up at what is actually a reasonable time, but my life has adapted me to being awake at completely different hours. Yeah. So for this life in a day thing, it's been recommended that we all do, or we take a moment to show what we've got on us today. Apart from the obvious clothing, rune. In my pockets I've got my phone, currently set in German. I've got my wallet, obligatory sort of carrying thing, filled with about a bajillion cards and half a kilo of shrapnel. Got my keys, which, car keys, apartment key, dad's place key, bike lock key, USB with 8 gig of space on it. Just been to work, and it's been a long day. But the problem is, of course, that it was a bit dusky when I left, and it's a bit dusky now. It just hasn't really, like, there was a lighter period in between, but it's sort of come and gone, and I missed most of it. I know I shouldn't complain that much, as I only work on weekends, but it's, yeah. So there were 4 questions that were to be answered. What do I love most? The answer is comedy. I mean, I like superhero shirts. I'm wearing Green Lantern now, and I've got a Red Lantern shirt in the background there, but I don't love them like I like comedy. Like, I love comedy. And that makes me think, but I don't love these things like I love comedy, and that like ties very much into what makes me laugh, and the one thing that I figured out makes me laugh more than anything else is incongruency. If 2 things just don't go together, the idea doesn't match up, it makes me laugh. Or if something just stands out, it's referred to as the law of 3 in comedy. The idea that as long as you set up a baseline with 2 things, and then and you deviate it from it with a third, it's automatically funny. And it reminds me of something that a friend of mine said that really made me laugh, where she was talking about this cow that they needed to put down on this farm that she was on, and how the cow was it was in this really bad way. I won't go into the actual story of them killing it, but she was saying that it was it was a really sad cow, and that it had cancer and rabies and a sore foot. And I couldn't help but laugh at this sore foot comment, because it was just so incongruent with cancer and rabies. And like another idea just we have in Australia a thing called a work experience kid, which is kind of like an intern, except it's just a high school student. And the idea of a work experience kid being called in for any job that requires massive amounts of experience and training, like a work experience kid surgeon or a work experience kid astronaut or a work experience kid writer. There's just no way that any part of the job is going to be communicated by in the 2 weeks of attending. And I just find these things hilarious. They're perfect. And what do I fear most is the absolute loss of variety. There are so many different people, and they're all so wonderful in how they're different, but it scares me more than anything else that would someday disappear because of the way society works. And I've seen it in some places like the Gold Coast in Australia, where any variety amongst individuals is just discouraged so much that people are afraid to be anything other than the same four stock standard molded people over and over again. And anyone who doesn't fit is just thrown away and discommunicated. And it scares me, the idea that the entire world would become like that, because it's all well and good to say, yeah, I'm afraid of nuclear war because everyone would die, but if we're only the same four people over and over again, is there really truly more than four people alive? How much have we lost for that situation to have arisen? And we may have a lot of live people in that situation, but how many are truly left? What have we already lost? Have we lost our soul as a species? Because I don't believe in the nature of a soul on an individual scale, but I do believe in the idea that any notion has its own spirit, that humans as a collective have a sort of a feel to them. They have something that makes them wonderful that would just be completely lost in a situation like that. And the pockets thing I did in the other room because that was the only thing I could remember. It's a good day. Had a friend's birthday dinner tonight. The highlight, of course, had nothing to do with the dinner, but after dinner, while we were in his study, we noticed that we found this piece of paper with something written on it. It's like, it's a weird piece of paper, and it's just got some name of some actor written on it in pen. And then we unfolded it and realized it was my friend's birth certificate with the name Vince Colosimo written on the back, who is an Australian actor that I don't like. It was a hilarious moment, realizing just how inconsiderate some people can be. We had no idea why his birth certificate was even there. But yeah, so that's my 24th of July. I got up, I worked, I went to a birthday dinner, and then I went home. And all of it kind of trying to put behind me a breakup, because that's what you kind of have to do when that happens. The thing I didn't explain about my keys is why I keep them on this clip. That's because I always had this problem where whenever I put keys in my pocket, they would just shred through the pocket in a matter of a couple of weeks, and I would just lose them. So now I keep these on one of my belt loops, which is far more effective.